All right, we are in the Corvette C8. This is Corvette's first mid-engine car, and boy, when you thought it was going to be a supercar, it's still very muscle car-esque, and you hear that engine just fire off. Definitely sounds very muscle car-y, so they've kept that muscle car feel and that sound, but it definitely is now a supercar. Mid-engine, right? We're talking 6.2 liter V8 making 490 horsepower, 480 pound-feet of torque. So out of a naturally aspirated V8, that's big power. And Chevy's always been known to have those kind of big power numbers on their V8s. So very impressive. I think the exterior, striking. You can argue C7, C8, what do you like better? Even C6, you know, there's different camps around there. But I still think this definitely looks striking. It looks like a supercar vet, and that's what they obviously wanted to go with. So the exterior, this Corvette's in this beautiful yellow, looks awesome. A lot of power in this car. Obviously, we're in the interior here. You can see the first thing that's striking in this drive, it's very driver oriented. You have the entire kind of seating arrangement here. Everything's focused on you as the driver. The passenger only gets a few air vents. Everything's driver oriented. You have your paddle shifters here. This is a 8-speed dual clutch transmission, and it puts that power down so good. Oh my. Just lots of power, and that sound with this dual exhaust system just sounds awesome. They really hit it out of the park with keeping that Corvette American muscle sound with this car. And this dual clutch transmission, quick. Look at those quick upshifts. Oh, very quick upshifts. Push that out. Oh my. So love that. Full digital screen, you can see here. I have this entire tack. Everything's adjustable. You have your drive mode selectors here. Heads up or display here. You do have a heads up display as well, which this is actually one of the first times I've driven a car with a heads up display. Really like that. It provides all that information on the road for you. And you know, I do appreciate that it's right there. It does make a difference, right? Visibility out of this car is great too. Again, similar to the NSX that I just drove. And if you haven't seen that video, make sure you check out my previous video. I'll link it in the card above. Also, if you like this video, make sure you like it. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. And big thank you to Ultimate Exotics. They're the best and the only exotic car rental experience that you should be going for in Ontario. I highly recommend them. They went ahead and supported me by bringing me on this entire experience, so a big shout out to them. Ultimate Exotics, check them out. But this is a seriously awesome supercar experience, and I think Corvette really did it well with this iteration of the C8. Love the flat bottom kind of squared off steering wheel here. So the great thing about the steering wheel, it's easy to see the dash with this as well. We're following this 911 turbo. Let's see if we can catch up to him. Oh my. Wow. All right, that was insane. I'm not gonna talk. I'm just gonna let you guys listen now. That's some insane power. That's some insane power. Again, so shifters right here, I think they're in a good position. I usually hate, the one thing I don't like is when you turn the wheel, the stalks don't actually move with you. So that was just a little bit of an adjustment. The screen's very bright, easy to read. Again, all the controls are here with you. HVAC controls all over on the right hand side. Your music controls all here. Driver display, heads up display. You can see a lot of things out of this car. Again, a low hood line. You can see everything in front of you. The A-pillars are not so wide, which is great news, right? You don't want wide A-pillars. And again, just I'm impressed with how this still retains that muscle car kind of experience while being a supercar. You know, it definitely fights with supercars. in terms of performance, maybe not price, and that's a great thing. I think this starts at $60,000 without, you know, the Z51 package and all that jazz. It starts at 60K USD and obviously goes up from then. But the other thing is you can't really get this car right now. It's really hard to find. You know, that's a comment for every car. It's very hard to find almost every single car right now with the supply shortages. But this is a good experience. Definitely more visceral and raw. It's like a hammer. Oh my. Definitely a hammer. And I'll say, you know, the steering is good, not as precise as the NSX. I love that NSX. Maybe that's a huge tip of the hat to that car. But just immediately, you know, while the NSX has more power, 570 horsepower, you can feel that in the NSX, but it just felt more planted. And that's the one thing. Obviously, the NSX is all-wheel drive. This Corvette is still rear-wheel drive. So you get some of that fun rear-wheel drive action if that's important to you with this car. And again, it kind of leads to that entire muscle car experience. This roaring V8, rear-wheel drive. You know, the mid-engine is a little bit of a new experience for Corvette, but I love that I hear the engine in the back and I get this push from the engine. It really is quite eye-opening when you put it into full throttle. You know, turn-in is good. Power is good. The brakes on the NSX were a cut above, that's for sure. Following this beautiful 911 turbo downshift. I do like the downshifts are really crisp, fast. You know, that's the other thing about this car. The power doesn't really start to crescendo up until 4,000, 5,000 RPM, but it's actually relatively flat across the board because you have so much of that torque. It actually meets you all the way up until the red line on this car. So that's considered actually a good thing, right? You have power available to you across the wide range of the RPM band with this car. Love all the stuff that you can see obviously in the tach, the oil temperature, your G-forces. You have lots of various different controls around performance modes, etc., etc. So that's all there as well. All the controls on your steering wheel, of course, voice control, heated steering wheel, you know, your volume stuff, all the typical stuff that you see on the steering wheel. I really do like the square steering wheel. And, you know, it matches with the display in front of you. You see the full display, full great visibility out of the car. I'm actually surprised how comfortable it is too. You know, the suspension I think is holding its own. I don't hear too much road noise. I know the Corvette was a muscle car, but I think they really stepped it up and it feels like a supercar in here. It does. It feels like a supercar mixed with a muscle car. They kind of mix two breeds, and this is what you have. You have the C8 Corvette. I love the technology. I love the screens. I love how everything's driver focused. You know, that's what this entire experience is all about. It's about the driving experience. So they really catered it to the driver. I really do like that. Yeah, I do. I feel like a pilot. I feel like a pilot in my Cessna aircraft with 490 horsepower. Oh my God. And that's the thing. This thing can get squiggly, I'm sure. You turn off the traction control on this thing, you go into the track modes, you're gonna light up the rear. That's certainty. That's 100% a fact. Let me know in the comment box down below, like, what is this thing? Is it still a muscle car? Is it a supercar? Is it a sports car? It's kind of got a mix of everything now. But to me, at least from the driving experience in the cockpit, it definitely feels like a supercar. When I hear it, it feels like a muscle car. But some may argue, does it have supercar power? 490 horsepower? 480 pound-feet of torque? You know, let me know in the comment box down below. I'm curious. I think maybe if it had 540, 570 like that NSX in front of us, it wouldn't be a question. But maybe it's not. Let me know. But I think, regardless what you want to call it, you own this car, God, you're gonna have just smiles, just from the sound of the engine. And I think this is if this is the stock exhaust, like if that's the stock exhaust, guys, that sounds really good, just stock. I'm pretty sure this is stock. So impressive from Corvette. Like that's a stock exhaust. That sounds vicious, mean, punchy, throaty, everything that you'd want in an aftermarket exhaust. And then it quiets down with no drone when you're at 8th gear and just cruising and chilling. You know, if I had my 7-Eleven cup, it would be sticked in right here. Put on some of my favorite music and just cruise. Awesome car. So let me know if you have any questions about it. Happy to answer. Again, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe, give this video a like, and then follow me on my journey. We're actually going to be taking that 911 next. We just already took that NSX out. We're going to be taking that 911 Turbo. Ooh, that's going to be an experience. So make sure you subscribe. You're going to watch and follow along on those videos. If you have any comments, questions, let me know. Is this a supercar or not? Love to hear it. And I'll catch you guys inside of that 911 Turbo.